Hi guys, by now you should know the drill, but I will tell it anyway. The necessary links in the video description, and the test system setup details also in the video description. So, this is Aiyima A20 2.1 stereo amplifier anniversary edition, as you can see. And I don't think that at this point in time in 2025 there is anyone who isn't familiar with Aiyima and their lineup of TPA 5255 based D-class amplifiers. These were evolving during past couple of years, getting better and better with time, and you could see some of them reviewed in my channel. As plans asides, I'm closely following D-class evolution, as I strongly believe that these have a bright future, and that's good for everyone looking for a good sound quality and low power consumption. So this time I have here bright, new, shiny Aiyima A20 10th anniversary edition. That's parts of, let's call it, masterpieces of a decade set. I always love humble names like that, so I got one here. More seriously, that amp has great functionality and I hope to hear good things here. The price for that amp, currently the sale price is currently $258, but I've read, I think it was on Facebook, that there will be a sale for that guy and T20 that will bring the prices down by something like $20, I think. I will investigate it further, and if I will know something useful about that, I will post that in the video description for you guys. Now, let's talk about some numbers. As I've said, this is 2.1 amplifier, and this means that it's a stereo amplifier with subwoofer output that's capable of outputting this particular one, maybe this one more. It's capable of outputting 120 watts into 4 ohms per channel, or 100 watts per channel into 8 ohms, and that's with 48 volts 5 amps power brick that I got here. Yeah, that's new type of power supply. That's using just a regular figure 8 cable with European connector. But you can also order this amplifier with 48 volts 10 amps power supply, and with that powerful power supply, this can go up to 250 watts per channel into 4 ohms, or 185 watts per channel into 8 ohms. So this is basically, these figures are basically with something like 10% THD. So realistically speaking, the usable power output will be obviously lower, unless you're going to listen with the disco levels of volume, but still this guy is quite powerful with that kind of power adapter, but I'll talk about that more later. Now, other numbers, the interesting numbers. Signal to noise ratio, it's more than 116 decibels. That's a nice outcome. Total harmonic distortion and noise are specified as 0.002%. Dynamic range is specified as above 110 decibels, and the frequency response is given as anything between 20 Hz and 20 kHz with 0.4 decibels on the ends of the spectrum. It can be powered with DC voltage, anything between 24 and 48 volts will do, but the higher the voltage, the more amperes your power supply is able to output, the more power you'll be able to get from the amplifier. Yes, of course, this is based on, let's call it, classic by now Texas Instruments TPA 5255. Now, let's talk about the build and the functionality. As you can see, I haven't connected it because it's already prepared for the look inside, so it's already opened. In the front of the device we have a couple of things. The first one is selector for the inputs, because we have RCA and XLR inputs, so we are able to choose the ones that we will be using. I've done most of my testing with XLRs, but I also used RCAs for a while. Then we have a volume control that doubles as a switch, I think. No, it doesn't, sorry, my bad. Yeah, and we have power on selector control, but this one is very interesting because it has 3 positions. It can be off, it can be on, and in this position it can be triggered by the 12-volt trigger input that's on the back. I'll show you this in a second. And the most interesting position is the one on top. This is actually a high-pass filter. It means that the amplifier is obviously on, but the speakers will have the sound redirected to the speakers will only in the specified frequency range, meaning that you can decide that the low band of the spectrum, for example the bass, that's the general idea, will be redirected to subwoofer only. Why is that important? That's important because most of the speakers, bookshelf speakers, will not like very low bass notes, because they won't be able to play them anyway. And if you'll have a full frequency spectrum audio signal going towards speakers like that, especially with a very powerful bass, it will only result in distortions, because the speaker will not be able to play them. The bookshelf speakers will not be able to go as low as needed. So that's about the front. On the top of the device we can see a nice plate stating that this is 10th anniversary amplifier. On the sides we have a set of venting holes, yeah, but I don't think they are really useful here, because when I was checking the temperature during my listening sessions and burning, and this amplifier stays pretty cool. Okay, so let's move to the back. And in the back we have a set of very interesting things. Okay, so we have one set of XLR inputs that are doubling as an inputs accepting TRS jacks. We have one set of RCA single-ended inputs. We have a selector that allows us to boost the RCA input signal by 3 decibels. And we have 3 very interesting things. This one is obviously the subwoofer output. And we also have a high-pass filter setting knob. You can choose anything between 60 Hz and 200 Hz. This basically means that, for example, if I will set that to 80 Hz, the high-pass filter will be set to 80 Hz, and anything above 80 Hz will be sent to the speakers. If I set it up for 120 Hz, this will mean that anything above 120 Hz will be sent to speakers here, but anything below that will be filtered. Okay, so the last one here is a bypass button. As you've seen, in the front of the device we have a volume control. Now, if we will push that button and keep it pushed for a couple of seconds, it will light up, and this will mean that this will become a real power amplifier with volume control bypassed. So that's an excellent thing, because if you've seen my other reviews, I don't really like power amplifiers that are also using volume control. Especially if you'd be using, for example, 2 of them, because then you have to be very careful with setting exactly the same volume on both units in order to have the proper balance. Now, there is a couple of other things here. We have 2 sets of the speaker outputs for the left and for the right channel, and we have 12 volts trigger and we have DC input here. As I've told you earlier, anything between 24 and 48 volts will do. Now let's take a look inside. On the bottom, the only thing interesting here are two screws that are holding the heatsink, internal heatsink, screwed to the bottom plate, because the whole chassis then works as one big heatsink. Now, in order to open the amplifier, you need to remove the 4 screws that are found in the corners, 2 screws that are down below here, and then you can remove the volume control knot that goes like that, and you'll find the hex nut here that you have to undo. And after you do that, you can just slide the front away like that, and you can slide the PCB out like that. So let's take a look at the board. Let's start with the bottom. That's the heatsink for TPA 5255. As you can see, it doesn't use any kind of silicone paste between this metal block and the chassis, but as you can see by this stain here, it does use that kind of paste between the actual chip and the heatsink here, this metal block. Now let's take a look at the board here, and let's talk about what we can see here. Okay, so these black guys are Rubicon caps. I think they are rated for 3300 microfarads, but it's kind of hard to tell because they are glued to the board facing downwards. But you can see that these are Rubicons because of the R letter on the head shrink over there. We have German Wima capacitors over here. We have a set of Panasonic capacitors here, and we have a couple of Samsung caps over here. This guy here is NJW volume control chip, and we have a set of NE5532 operational amplifiers, and these are used as buffers for the XLR inputs and for the RCA inputs. Then we have a control chip here, as I understand, and we have 2 replaceable operational amplifiers in DIP8 sockets. So this is a really nice thing, and I'll talk more about that when we will get to the sound quality part of the review. As you can see, the board is marked with Aiyima 10th anniversary, and this is fresh, this is brand new fresh, because the board was designed, produced at 6th of August this year, and we have, let's say, half of September right now. Yeah, so let's close that guy, give me a second, and I will tell you about the sound quality. Yeah, one more thing before we will get to the sound quality, as this is the time and place for that, because the chassis is open. As you've seen, you can replace the operational amplifiers inside. So I've done my basic testing with stock Aiyima operational amplifiers that you can see here. Let's take a look at those guys. Yeah, Aiyima 49720NA, which are obviously way better than the NE5532 that you can usually see in this position with other D-class amplifiers. Now, obviously, this can be upgraded. These are not bad, by any means. But as I've learned with other D-class amps that had those, you can still upgrade them. So, my candidates were Burson V5. These are matching perfectly. Texas Instruments OPA 627 also matches perfectly, and you can fit 2 of them with no problem. OPA 828, same thing, same story, they will fit perfectly. Now, I wanted to try staccatos. Staccatos are excellent, by the way, but the vertical version is just a little bit too tall, and it's bordering on touching the chassis. So they were a no-go. Now I wanted to try LC5s, but LC5s are the same story. Yeah, it's no, it's like 0.5 millimeter too little. But luckily, Acliam makes horizontal version of their operational amplifiers called AK06, and with additional DIP sockets I was able to perfectly match them. I just needed to raise them a little, so I was sure that they will be not touching the capacitors or relays here. So I could place two of them inside, and that was perfectly fine. By the way, Staccato also does have a horizontal version of their operational amplifiers, but I don't have them here at the moment, so I couldn't try them. But I was able to try Bruson V7, both Vivid and regular classic ones, and as you can see, those guys have no problems with fitting inside. So my Class A discrete choices were these two guys. Hybrids were working fine too, and if you're more like a Texas Instruments guy, both OPA 627 and OPA 828 were fitting here perfectly fine. So that's about the practicalities of operational amplifiers replacement. Let's place that knob, yeah, like that here. Yeah, by the way, this is a matte finish, and I don't know, with some magic way it's a real fingerprint magnet. But the amplifier is not for touching, it's for listening. So let's talk about the sound quality. And I've done my testing both in regular on mode and with high pass filter mode. The high pass filter was a little bit cleaner with my Martin Logan XTB 100 speakers, just a tad bit. They go really low, but they are not going up to, I don't know, 20 or 50 hertz. So it was helping a little with the clarity. Now, let's talk about the bass. The bass is a typical Class D bass, and that's a very good thing. It's fast, it's precise, and it's powerful. But it's also full, and that's not what all D-class amplifiers can do. For example, piano notes on the Halseys, are very deep and rich, not weak and dull. This amplifier is not shy when it comes to mid-bass, so it never sounds dry, but it's not overdone. There is just right amount of mid-bass to make it full, but without overpowering everything else. Moving on to mid-range. Let's start with vocals. Vocals are very clear and natural, which is a positive surprise because they are not dry and they don't have that slightly artificial tone that some of the D-class amplifiers may have. Somebody really took some time to work on the tuning here. There is a lot of detail in the mid-range, and I like it as there is no veil or muddiness here. The veil and muddiness usually was coming with other amplifiers. It was usually coming from any 5552 that were used inside, and the idea, as I understand it, usually was to use them to mask the dryness of the D-class amplifier. So if you placed a muddy operational amplifier, then you couldn't hear any dryness. At the same time, you were losing the actual benefits that the D-class gives you, meaning precision, clarity, detail, and transparency. So it's always the best idea to replace operational amplifiers, if they are replaceable, with something of better quality. And these Aiyima guys here are pretty nice, but as I've told you earlier, you can get even better. So, treble. Treble is open with good extension, there is no sibilance, but I wanted some more transparency. That I got after replacing op-amps with discrete Class A ones. Stock Aiyima are good, way better than 5552 typically found in D-class amplifiers, but you can make treble even better with Class A discrete operational amplifiers as that guy, yeah, or that guy, yeah. So these two, by the way, were the best choices amongst the Class A discrete ones. I think the slight nudge would go to Pulsons and these ones, the vivid ones. But Arcliams were also very, very good, and the price difference says that my wallet screams that this is the winner. Okay, so let's move to the detail, that part of my review. Before I will talk about the detail, I wanted to talk about the black hole that the background here is. That's mighty impressive, even when compared to amplifiers many times the price. This black background brings up tons of detail and small sounds that otherwise would be lost. Detail is superb, not only for the price, yet the amp doesn't sound analytical. So I really like the detail on that guy. Imaging is good, but it's not great. Soundstage has good center image, but it doesn't extend much beyond the speakers. Most of the things will happen between the speakers, with some of the sounds occasionally sounding wider on the left and wider on the right. There is a depth information, but sound layers are rather close to each other. Well, this is let's say a family characteristic sound signature for D-class amplifiers. It's not flat, but it's not very deep either. This gets better with tube preamplifiers and Class A discrete operational amplifiers. So again, I highly recommend getting something like those and replacing those two operational amplifiers inside. Now, the amplifiers reviews that I post here have one additional section compared, for example, to preamplifier reviews, and that section is about the amplifier working with my Martin Logan Ascent 1 electrostats and my Outlon M10 monster speakers. That yes, they are going for a review, maybe not exactly next week, because they are 60 kilos each, and it's really hard to open them up without damaging anything nearby. Okay, so getting back to A20. As usual, the Ascents are coming to the rescue with imaging. These things can make everything 3D and holographic. A20 has no problems driving them, and that's a compliment to the power reserves of the power supply, that guy over here. The top end remains open and extended, and this means that A20 has no problems with difficult loads, as my Ascents are dropping to 1.2 ohms in the treble. And this is not an easy load, and there are many amplifiers, including some clone amplifiers, that cannot handle that kind of load. And the symptom is that you will lose treble with Ascents. If the amplifier is not able to handle such a difficult load, the sound will be muddy veiled and without the top end. But let's move to the M10s. M10s are also great pairing with the grand scale and authority. Again, A20 has no problems driving those, and that's impressive because I don't know if you can see them, these guys. And you have two bus drivers like that per channel, so this amplifier is able to drive 4 speaker cones like that without breaking a sweat. The bass remains fast, powerful and precise. It's actually funny that something so small controls those drivers so well. And that's one of the benefits of the Class D. Now, moving on to summary. I've told you about that earlier, but that black empty background was an excellent first impression. Interestingly, it goes with quite a low gain of this amplifier. I think that's because there is a matching T20 tube preamplifier. and internet beards are thinking that there may be also a matching digital to analog converter. When I was doing my listening tests with a couple of different digital to analog converters, I've noticed that if I raise the volume on the digital to analog converter to the maximum and I will use only that volume control here, the gain seems to be pretty low. I mean, I could go almost all the way up, and yes, it was too loud for my normal listening levels, but usually with other amplifiers I am able to go at most to something like half of the scale before my ears will start bleeding. So it looks like this guy has quite low gain because it's designed to be used with some kind of preamplifier. That's my guesstimate at this point. Okay, so high-pass mode with subwoofer output and frequency cutoff makes this amplifier a complete 2.1 package. At the same time, this is the best Aiyima amplifier so far. It's better than A80, it's better than A70, and it's better when it comes to clarity and detail than A70 mono pair. And the price is good, especially compared to the amplifiers I've mentioned here, as it's basically in the same price range. This looks like it was designed to be paired with T20 tube preamplifier, so I'll try to test that one too, as I'm curious about the pairing here. Now, I've seen that Aiyima is making an let's call it anniversary celebration sale for A20 and T20 with significantly lower prices. I was talking about that at the beginning of the review. So it's worth checking out to save some money. I'll try to get some more details for you guys on that, and I will post that in the video description. If I find something interesting, if I will find out how much you can save or what actually you need to do to save, I will update the video description here. Now, getting back to the summary, I think this is a fine amplifier and a solid choice if you are looking for a D-class amp, because, as I've said, this is a complete package for anyone looking for 2.1 subwoofer combo done right. It sounds good, this is the best amp Aiyima has made so far, and the price is right. I hope you liked this video and that it helped you, as other reviews are very often helping me. If you liked it, you're more than welcome to support my channel by getting me a beer via PayPal link that's down way, or YouTube Super Thanks that's also down under the video. The beer fund goes towards weekend beers, and I always try to get the one from your country, so that's additional fun factor for me. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. And again, all the necessary links in the video description, test system setup details in the video description, and if there will be anything interesting to add, or if we will find something in our discussions in the comments that will need to be placed in the video description, I will update that with additional information. Again, thanks for watching, and really guys, have a wonderful day with your music, and see you next time.